Okay, we're live. I look a little different today. No microphone, just chillaxing. It's Friday, April 10th. Um, Almost 8 o'clock, not quite. If you're watching the replay, thank you so much for doing that. Really appreciate it. Just turned 8 o'clock, so I'm going to begin. And Brandon is trying to check my sound, I'm sure. Hope it's fine and you can hear me okay. Um, we went live. Well, actually, so first of all, I want to thank the people that have been subscribing to our YouTube channel or liking and following our Facebook page. We hit some big milestones today, which is really awesome. Thank you so much for doing that. And thank you for those who will do that now and help us get to the next milestones on the numbers there. We know the more people that like or follow or subscribe, the more other people will find it and will be helped by the same things we're talking about. So thank you for how you're helping others to find the valuable information that we're sharing. Now, you might have noticed if you're one of those subscribers, likers, or followers, that we went live earlier today with our good friend Mark Willis. And it was a really great conversation. It was actually the question of the day that I wanted to talk about. Who do you want to be when this crisis is over? So I put those links to our conversation in the description of this video so that you can go check that talk conversation out. Mark had some really cool things to share, particularly about zombies and zombie movies. I'm not a big zombie movie fan, but I got something out of that. I think it's been a long time, over a decade since I watched a zombie movie. I don't even remember. Maybe Brandon roped me into one at some point. But yeah, I don't not a big zombie movie fan, but maybe I do want to watch one. Actually, his what Mark shared today made me think that I possibly could. But so there. I wanted to share about that. I also wanted to share this beautiful Instagram post that I saw. And of course, now my phone is not wanting to open. There we go. So I'm going to put this up. So toilet paper, 1 for $3.50, 2 for $99, and then it says there, the light's really bright. There we go. Don't be greedy. Think of the other people. Great little sign there. That's on Instagram. I have no idea who this is. It was in my search thing. Or the similar post to what I look at or something. An Instagram suggestion there. Because it's kind of like, who do you want to be when this crisis is over? Do you want to be the person that hoarded all the toilet paper? Or do you want to be the person that got what you needed, make sure other people could get what they needed, right? When you look back on this time. But it's more than that. It's also how you respond, what you do, both mentally, physically, emotionally, monetarily, all the things, right? And Mark had this really interesting question. I know I have stories about people I know who lived through the Great Depression back almost 100 years ago now. It's been 90 years, right? That's kind of crazy. And we still tell stories of the things that they're proud of. What do we want our children or our grandchildren or our great grandchildren or whoever's alive 90 to 100 years from now? What do we want them saying about what we did during this time and how we survived and what we were doing, right? Grandma's wealth wisdom. When we're grandparents, what do we want our kids to be saying about what we did right? Especially during the COVID-19 or whatever they call it by that point. Could be have any kind of name, right? But they'll be talking about it, just like we still talk about the Great Depression. But also something really cool happened today. We released a podcast episode like we're known to do, and I put the link to that in the description of this video too. Here's the theme or the featured image for that episode, Recession Lessons with Grandma. We've got the president, I think it's Jefferson, on the $100 bill. I know that's from the $100 bill. Not that I see a lot of $100 bills, but I put him on there because I found this really cool image of him with a wearing a mask on there, and he's going out in public, obviously. So, um, recession lessons with grandma. It's got you can actually from here you can go to Apple Podcasts or Google Podcasts or SoundCloud or Stitcher. Benjamin Franklin, thank you. Brandon just corrected me. I'm so sorry, Mr. President Franklin. I knew that. I guess I'm not used to seeing too many $100 bills. Um, excuse me. So from here, you can listen right there, or you can go to one of these other things to listen. You can see like some of the highlights and what time points they're at if you want to just skip ahead to those. This part about how, like, basically what the stock market does and how it acts, we do some myth busting there. And then we also have this mention of a live show that we're doing on April 25th, so in about 2 weeks from now, a Saturday, talking about how to antivirus our money or recession-proof our retirement, or however you want to look at it. There's more about that at the link and in the episode if you want to listen to it. So be sure you check out that episode that just dropped today, this morning. I think it was published like 4 a.m. or something like that because it's on auto published. And we do talk in this episode about that question, who do you want to be when this crisis is over? And in particular, the things you can do to make, the things that are still within your power to do that can help you take control of who you are. Like if you're going to survive this, which I hope you will, I want to believe that you will, on the other side of this, who do you want to be? And this can help you see there's still things within your control so that you can be who you want to be when you get there. So those are really big things. The live that I did with Mark earlier, where we talked about this question, who do you want to be when this crisis is over? And then that episode that's Recession Lessons with Grandma, I'm kind of thinking, like, when you hear this question, who do you want to be when this crisis is over? You might be thinking 2 or 3 months down the road. But if you think of this as a recession, which the IMF, the International Monetary Fund, has already called it a global recession. Technically speaking, we have to go through 2 quarters of recessionary kind of atmosphere before we can call it a recession in the US. But if we're in a recession, that recession could last a long time, right? I was reading earlier today that some people who were impacted by the 2008-2009 crisis, it took them 10 years to recover. People, businesses, all kinds of things. For me, I was in my early 20s at that point, right? I guess 24, 25. So I wasn't really as impacted by that, but I knew some of the people that I worked with, older coworkers, they were. And I always wonder, like, did they ever get back on track? What really happened, especially with the money they had in their 401ks? And we talk about this idea, will it bounce back? Or it will bounce back is what people think and say. And so we question that in that episode. But what I was really saying is, when you're thinking, who do I want to be when this crisis is over, think the 2 or 3 months down the road, but also think the decade down the road. And Mark and I talked about that in the live too. If this crisis is drawn out, for a year or two, and the economic fallout, is drawn out for even longer, that gives you even more opportunity to move in the direction you really want to go. I was actually reminded today as I was scrolling through Instagram of this guy who was laid off in 2008. He was, I think, an architect, and he took the study exam that you had to do for architecture school, and he made it into an online course to help other people study for architecture school. And then he went from there to creating a whole bunch of different online courses about podcasting, about doing things, really helping a lot of entrepreneurial type of people. And he's become, I mean, I don't know his exact details. I think he publishes them. I could probably look it up. Let me look it up real quick. Because yeah, he does do that. I almost forgot. He publishes his exact income amounts on his website. So it's like public knowledge. I'm going to pull it up here, see if this is still true, if he still does that. I'm allowing cookies. I'm going to see if I can find this. Maybe it's not on this one. It's probably maybe on his other one. He's got like 5 different websites, right? Yeah, maybe he's not publishing that anymore. He used to publish what his revenue was. Like, it was right there on his website for the world to see. I'm gonna just try one more place. But he was making, the 6 figures per month, right? Like, big amounts of money over time. Yeah, and I'm not seeing it on his website anymore. If you've never heard of him, this guy, his name is Pat Flynn, and one of his things is smart passive income, right? But that's just one of those stories of something really negative happening and him turning around to make something positive happen. It didn't happen overnight, but it happened relatively quickly for him because he found this cool thing to do. I also heard a story this week of a woman who was making some kind of fabric thing, and she switched to making masks and has made 6 figures making masks, both some kind of deal where you buy one and she'll give one, right? So she's also making them to give to healthcare workers as part of their personal protective equipment, PPE. I also heard about another woman who has totally switched her business model from making things with fabric to only making surgical gowns. And because of the fabric she was using, she was able to get it level 2 certified already. She might even be able to get it to level 3. And not just doing that to make money, but to be of service. There's plenty of ways to look for ways to be of service, knowing you could also get paid for those things, right? Not that you're being opportunistic, but in a negative way, but in a way you're providing value that's needed and at a reasonable, smart cost, right, for the people that need it. And that's a great thing. It helps them, it helps you, so on and so forth. It helps the people that you employ, all of those kind of things. So I just encourage you to be creative about this question. Who do you want to be when this crisis is over? And where do you want to be? What kind of stories do you want to tell? All of those kind of things. I'm going to keep it short for today because we got those other 2 things you can watch or listen to. And tomorrow night I'll be back. Little heads up of what our question for tomorrow is. What money practices could I continue and discontinue? So if you've been practicing some money habits, some money disciplines, money practices, whatever you want to call them, when you're in crisis, which ones do you continue? And which ones do you say, now's not the time to be doing that? I'm just going to let go of that one and maybe pick it back up again later. That's the question we're going to explore tomorrow. Have a great rest of your Friday night, and I will talk to you soon. Peace.